What's going on, guys? JHoyt back with you today. Welcome back to Chicago Blackhawks Franchise Mode, episode number 10. And we're in the off season now. So, last episode, if you guys don't remember, haven't watched it yet, you probably should go watch it because it's a pretty damn good one. But we had the first round of the playoffs, and it didn't really end too well for us. However, as the postseason continued and we're out of it, we got some good news. We went to the draft lottery, and we received the first overall pick for this year's draft. So, although the first round of the playoffs loss sucks, we get the first overall. So last year we had the number 2 overall pick, where we picked Sami Koivu. And this year we have the first overall pick. And we kind of narrowed it down to 3 major pieces that could be really, really beneficial for our franchise. And the one is the franchise player himself, Tony Solani. The second one we've been talking about a while, Alexis Lafreniere. And the third guy, Jacob Ziska. I'm going to guess that's how you pronounce it. So all 3 of these guys seem like they're pretty decent. And obviously with the high elite and the franchise level players at the top, it kind of seems like a really good top 3 draft. So I guess we'll kind of talk about the strategy of what I'm kind of going into the draft with. Although I wanted to address defense with, the draft and free agency, we kind of have to pick a forward in this situation in either Lafreniere or Solani. So, without further ado, let's get right into the draft and see who we're going to pick. So, the first overall pick belongs to us. Don't pay any attention, by the way, to the message center. Jonathan Toews is not on the trading block. But who is on the trading block, I don't think I mentioned that, is, I can't actually see it, but I guess we'll go to offer trade. And it's going to be Eric Johnson, Drake Caggiula, and Jake Gardiner. Now, the reason those 3 guys are on there, like I said before, defense was the main kind of focus for this year, and both those guys are making a lot of money, and we don't really have a lot of money to spend, especially when there's a few young guys that want a lot of money. So we'll put those guys on there. Plus, in order to get a forward in this year's draft, we kind of got to make an opening for them. Who are we going to pick? I would love to pick Alexis Lafreniere, because I know he's obviously most likely going to be number 1 in the 2020 draft. You can't just give up a franchise player like Tony Solani. So, Tony Solani, welcome to the Chicago Blackhawks. 79 overall. I was really hoping you would have been a little bit better than that, but he's 17 years old. So, I guess he's going to be good for a while. So, he'll definitely have a chance to make the NHL roster here in the preseason. But the 3 guys that we had watched right there, first 3 picks. So we picked Solani, 79 overall, medium franchise. Alexis Lafreniere, high elite, 76 overall. And then, Jacob Ziska, 78 overall, medium elite for him. So we got our franchise level player. Let's move on to round 2. And do we even have? Yep. Oh, we have a second first-round draft pick. I forgot about that. We have our first-round draft pick. So I guess let's take a quick little scroll through what's happened so far. So a 78 overall, another 77, 75, 76. Okay, so there's some really good picks here. 75 as well. A couple 70s, 65s. Nothing wrong with that. And then the pick before us, top 4, medium top 4. So there's some good picks in this draft, it seems like. But as far as our second pick goes, let's see. Also, my right bumper isn't really performing a lot, so we'll have to make sure we do what we want here. But we did kind of miss out on a defenseman, so if we could possibly pick up somebody that could either help us up front or someone that could help us on the back end, that would be kind of huge. So we won't go too far down in this side of the draft. A couple guys look pretty good, but they're just their grades aren't that great either. So let's just check out this guy. All right, so I marked the 2 defensemen that are kind of up here. In Bradley Canierno, I don't really know how to pronounce that name, but He looks pretty decent, right-hand defenseman. And then we have Gabriel Egan here as another player. What's his... okay, so he doesn't have a similar style. So he plays to his own strengths, I guess. So, what do we kind of need right now? What do we need more? Left or right-handed? Let's go with... Ooh, he's top 4, though. Let's go with the top 4 guy and see what that comes out as. All right. So, medium top 4. I'll take that. And then, what was the other guy's name? I kind of want to see what he is. It was Egan. Yeah, there we go. So let's simulate the rest of the round. I probably should have simulated the next pick, but it didn't do that. All right, so our pick's here. So Egan, medium top 6, 62 overall. It's still not bad though. All right, let's go to our next pick here. And the second and third rounds will probably be the last rounds of the draft. So I don't want to make it too boring here. But we picked the right-hander, so I'd like to get another left-hander just kind of to balance it out if possible, or if we find something up front that would that could help us, we'd definitely look into that. So all right, so he's got some good good kind of shooting and scoring and release and offensive skills. Owen Nolan, all right, that's a pretty damn good similar style. But all right, what else do we got here? I think we're going to go up here with Trent Foote, the guy that has the pretty good offensive stats. Although he's a little bit smaller than I would like. Hopefully he grows a couple of inches. Hey, medium top 9, 63 overall. You'll love to see it, honestly. But what else? No trades yet either, which is kind of surprising. I mean, I know it's the offseason and people are kind of waiting to see who they resign. But still, I need to get rid of a couple of these guys so we have some money and some room to do stuff with. But all right, who are we gonna pick here? So a big right-hander there, the fourth line grinder. All right, I mean, some of these guys are not scouted very well either, which does not help. Who did I see? Was it this guy? No, it was King, right? Yeah, he's got some good points on it. Plus a right wing, a right-hander, which is something we need. So let's go with him. 2-way forward, medium, bottom 6. All right, for a third-round pick, that's not too bad. Hopefully becomes something decent for us. We got another third-round pick. Who do we got? So we already looked at a couple of these guys, I think. Yep, so we already looked at those 2 guys. A couple of guys that are not really drafted or scouted at all. Ooh, a couple of B's and C's here. Let's go with that. That's not a bad pick. 60 overall, low top 6. Third round pick. Hopefully becomes something. Alright, I'm pretty sure this is the last third round draft pick for us. We got a couple elites down here. That doesn't really look too elite with all those weaknesses. But alright, so I don't really want to pick up them because they don't really seem that elite. I know that's potential, but you'd still like to see him have a little something coming out of the draft. But all right, we could always use centers. All right, nothing really there. What about down here? So we got a bust right there. Gotta stay away from that. What else? There's literally nothing here. What about you? Are you anything? Not really. All right, let's just sort it by potential. See what happens here. So the couple elites are there. And then I think, is this guy new? There's not really many good picks right here. So we happen to come upon a couple of goalies here. And we have a couple of starter potentials. And after looking at some of the stats, this guy has never played, but somehow is draft eligible. Don't understand that one. But then the second guy, Casey McMillan, or Macmillan, I guess, has played in Russia and has done pretty decent. And then this guy over here didn't really have the greatest of stats. But let's just pick a goalie. I mean, doesn't really hurt. Hopefully he's something decent. Yeah, medium starter, 58 overall. Usually goalies start at really low overalls, like in the 50s, which is kind of weird. But I guess if they're kind of planning on going back to juniors and not really coming over to the North America anytime soon, then I guess I get it. But all right, so 6'6" center at 17 years old. Oh my goodness. All right, so we got a guy that's more physical. All right, we're going to go with, I just looked at the name. I'm not even going to try to pronounce it, but Malak here, Malech, whatever you want to pronounce it as. This will be the last pick of the draft unless something really crazy as far as a high overall or a trade or anything comes in. But if this is it for the draft, we will see you in the ringside stage, and if not, then hopefully something crazy happened. Finally, we are done with the draft, and here we are. We have a scout or two that has an expiring contract. And this is kind of the first time we've really addressed scouts, other than just kind of making sure we have scouts and have them in majority of the regions. And let's just say we don't really have the best of scouts. We have a lot of C overalls, some C pluses, and we have very little Bs. What I'd like to do is kind of completely overhaul our scouting department. And basically everyone that's under a B, to fire them in hopes that we can sign some new ones. Now, when we can actually sign new ones, I'm not exactly sure. But I guess let's start with, I guess, right from the bottom and just fire all of these guys. No, we don't. Oh, it went back to the top for some reason. All right, we don't want that to happen because we don't want to fire our best guys. All right, there we go. We're down to 4, and these guys are all B minuses. Obviously, we're not going to have all A's. That's just, after playing a lot of franchise mode, that's basically just not possible. So whenever we can sign new scouts, we will do that. But, you know, just kind of an overhaul of everybody. I think it would just be for the best that we do that and just kind of move on. So now we got the start of the re-sign stage. And this is where all of the fun starts to happen, where we get to build our team and sign a lot of people to contracts. So the way I like to do it is go position by position here and kind of figure out what exactly we want. So I guess initially let's just go through and just release instantly the players that we do not want to re-sign at all. And that's going to be along the lines of Kruger, because we already got a couple people there. Plus, I don't think he played that great, if I remember. I mean, 23 points, he actually did. I thought he was like last year with terrible numbers, but he actually didn't do that bad. But we have a lot of centers down there that do want to make a spot, such as Hayden. He was already up there. But you can see Highmore, McLeod. But you're going to get rid of Kruger for now. We also could, you know, possibly re-sign him. But Andreoff, same thing. We just didn't really have time for you. Any other instant releases down here? So we have a lot of prospects we need to re-sign as well. Left wings, the only one is Vanek. We'll just instant release you. Any other left wings? Nope. On to right wings. There's our franchise level guy. DeBrinkak, no. No, we don't really want him. He was just kind of a sign to get out of our face type of deal. All right, on to defense. Defense. Who do we actually want to get rid of? So Hamius would be one of them. I plan on signing, I think, all of these guys. Anyone down here? White, no. All right, goaltenders. So we have Saros. He's under contract for another year. We have Gravel that wants a spot, so we would need to release at least one guy if we wanted to do that. So I kind of want to keep Forsberg if possible. I know Howard had a good year, but I'm really hoping for Forsberg and Saros to take over my NHL team. So 1 year, $1 million, that's the perfect deal for me. Copley, I don't really want to sign you, but also I really need a starting AHL goaltender. Who didn't we have to start off down here? I think it was this guy. Yeah, it was this guy. So we're going to buy... Okay, it went too many steps backwards. All right, go back into contracts. Let's get back to the goalies and release this guy. Maybe he's trying to say he doesn't want to be released. But Trudel, yeah, we want to release you. Plus your... Did I see AHL? Yeah, AHL starter. Doesn't really have the best potential anyway. 4 years, no money basically. But we'll sign Gravel since he is an original draft pick of Chicago, and he's done really well in in the juniors. So we'll sign him, and we'll kind of make sure we get an AHL starter. So also, I should mention that I guess on my computer I have a kind of like a chart of the numbers as far as position wise goes, with kind of like a spot that that has exactly what we're looking for. But all right, there's the goalies taken care of. Let's go to defense. So I guess we'll kind of go backwards this time. And no trades came through in the draft, which kind of sucks. But how I want to do this is kind of count numbers-wise and see where we go from there. So as far as guaranteed NHL roster, we basically have everyone above Boquist. And then we have guys that were either in the AHL last year or in the NHL, kind of brought up late. But DeMello, he was actually really good for us in the AHL, but you do want a few-year contract, so I feel like we're not going to be able to sign you to that. So let's release you. Forsland, what did you do? So a little worse than the year before, but obviously a different role. But still 24 years old. If we can get him... Ooh, you don't want a two-way contract. But let's try to sign him to a two-way contract, because why not? All right, so we'll try to sign you. Gustafsson, I really didn't like his comeback after kind of being put out of the lineup. Yeah, I mean, you could see a year in difference. If we started him in the NHL this year, I feel like we would have had a little bit more production out of him. But it should be about a 1-1 contract, I would guess. Okay, he wants a couple years, but we're going to go with 1-1, see how that works out for us. Christian Jaros, I believe he did quite well as well. Yeah, 30 points. He did go -2, but I'll definitely take that. 30 points plus without DeMello there. Obviously, they'll be looking for whatever down there. You don't want a two-way contract, but let's try to sign you to one. If not, we'll probably just restrict him and see what happens. Snundergaard. All right, so you've been pretty consistent on numbers. I mean, the plus-minus is an issue, but it's been an issue all along with kind of everyone. You want a 2-year deal? I'm going to give you a 1-year deal at $850. Works for me. Tuula, or however you pronounce this. Let's take a look at you. So you actually weren't in the lineup last year, I don't believe. And since we have... I really don't want to release him, but I kind of want to release him at the same time, because we have a lot of guys that are down here. So we actually have 10 now in the left-hander department, along with 6 for the right-handers. Colin White down here, you did terrible, so we're going to release you and restock. Radish, 9 points. People are already above you. I hate to see it, but we'll have to go with that. So now we're down to 9.5, I think. But all right, so there is defense. On to right wings now. We got DeBrincat, who wants a contract. So how much money do we have? We have $15 million. And let's just check real quick. Who are the major kind of people we need to re-sign? So, all right. So Strome, DeBrincat, and Kajula, and I guess Kahun as well in there. What are we looking at money-wise? So, like, $2 million. Oh, my goodness. Like, if we can get him down to, like, 3.5, so let's say 5.5. Ooh, you want... Okay, so 5.5. We're at 5.5, so let's just make that 11 with 5.5 for him. And then Strome's going to want a bit more, too. So 6. So we're not going to have money to re-sign everyone. So that's going to be the biggest problem. My main 2 focused would be Strome and DeBrincat. And then if we can get one of Kajula or Kahun back, that would be clutch. However, I'm not really going to try to, buy out people to get them back. So let's go back to right wings where we were. Like I said, DeBrincat, one of our priorities here. Is there a way we could sign him to less money? Okay, so you want $5 million for 1 year. What do you think about like a 4-year deal at like 4.5? Because if we could possibly save some money here, that would be pretty clutch. Then we got franchise level Solani here. That's absolutely perfect. So as far as his stats go, his shooting is really good. He's got a 4.5-star shooting level. Almost all of his shooting stats are above 90, with the exception of 189. And that's absolutely incredible. Physical, he's not really that physical, which is fine. We need him for scoring, not really physical. Skating, 87 acceleration, 87 agility, 87 speed. At 17 years old, this guy's like Connor McDavid. Defensive wise, he's at least decent enough. He's almost a 4-star, 3.5-star. He's also good at face-offs. So if we ever need someone to take face-offs in like a 4-on-4, that would be kind of perfect. Puck skills are pretty good. Obviously, mid 80s there, 3.5. And then senses wise, not too bad. So the lowest he has is what, 3.5, or no, I guess physical with 3-star. But either way, great pickup. I mean, obviously he's a little bit better than Lafreniere, but entry level deal, 3 years, 900,000. Fine with that. Another thing we need to do is kind of fill out our AHL team, because we only have 38 contracts right now. So we need to make sure we sign people for our AHL team. But there's that guy. Nobody else I really want to resign this year, because 17 years old, he was not going to be eligible for the AHL. 18 years old, probably not. But here we go. So this is where we kind of have to make the tough decision of what to do. So Kajula wanted like $4 million, which is absolutely insane. Now, the only way I could really see us signing both of them is to try to offer them very low money. But if you remember, we have Sami Koivu waiting. So if we either get rid of both of them, as far as Kajula and Kahun, we could instantly move Koivu up, even play him with Solani, and we could have a really, really dominant third line. Because Koivu's two-way defense, or two-way forward, right? Yes. And he's also good at faceoffs, too. So, I kind of want to restrict these two guys, and then hopefully they lower their asking price. Because even if we can keep both of them and even play one of them on the fourth line, or put them wherever, that would be kind of clutch. So, okay, so Kahun wants 2.8 at 3 years. How about we offer you... Actually, no. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to restrict both of them in the hopes that they don't accept their qualifying offer and that they dramatically decrease their asking price in order to hopefully sign both of them, and for a lot less money. That is the goal right now. But on to the rest of the AHL guys here. Not 26 points. He was playing on like the third line. I will give him that. But 1 year, I'm fine with that. Any other guys? 20 years old. I guess we'll see what numbers are in there. Then the other big one, Dylan Strome. What do you want for money? Okay, so you want 6.5 basically at 5 mil, or at 5 years. If we could possibly get away with like almost like a bridge contract here at like 2 years, 4.5-ish mil. Because until we get rid of our defensive contracts that are terrible, we're not really going to have money for anything. And especially with Taves and Kane both making $10.5 million, it's kind of tough. Along with Saad and Perlini. Did I sign him to that contract? I don't remember. But yeah, you look at our defense. Obviously, Keith's making a whole bunch for the next couple of years. So if he's going to retire, I kind of wish it would be sooner rather than later, and I don't have to wait out all of that because we don't really have the money to kind of wait. So as far as the rest of our centers go, we already released everyone that was an instant release. But now we have the guys that are either going to be top line AHL or bottom line NHL. Or top line AHL, yeah, yeah. You know what I'm trying to say. But Hayden, he's a very interesting player because he can put up average points, but he's not really like good at anything. He's like an average skater. He's got a decent, I mean, not really decent, but a decent shot. He's rather physical. I don't know. I mean, if we could restrict him and get him to a lot lower of a contract, maybe. But I really don't want to pay 1.5 for him. Highmore, I believe you were in the AHL last year. 43 points, +2. If you want a two-way contract, that'd be pretty clutch, but you don't. But actually, you want really low money. So let's give you like $850 at a two-way contract and hope you accept that. 14, I don't really know how to pronounce that. Undrafted. 47 points. He's gotten better every year, which is good as far as points go. Again, if we can get you on a two-way contract in the AHL, that would be pretty clutch. So 800 1 year, I'll take that. Noel. All right, so another Chicago draft pick, 19 points. He was playing on the fourth line all year long. But let's give you a 1 year deal at 800. I'll be fine with that. Is this Brett? Brandon. There we go. Brandon Sajan. One of the guys we got in one of the picks, or not in the picks, in one of the trades. He's been really good for the junior team. Let's see if we can have that same success with us. Then we got one more guy down here, Blake Spears. He actually did really well last year, 39 points. I'd be willing to give you 1 more year, see what happens. Plus, we need the AHL players anyway. And then we got one more player down here in Philip Karusev. I'm going to guess. 4th round pick. I think that's before I drafted them. Or it might have been the same year. I don't really know. But let's give him NHL contract, see if he can become anything. So I think I got everyone under that. I'm pretty sure I got everyone here. We did restrict a couple of contracts. All right, not restrict. That's not the way to put it. We did offer a couple of qualifying offers to some guys, but everyone that does not have a contract, I believe we sent an offer to. So let's move a couple of days here and see who I guess it'd be 1 day, but let's see who re-signs, and hopefully our top guys are the ones that sign instantly. We got 2 of the big 3 that did not re-sign, Strome and DeBrincat being those 2. But let's try to get them. So we did try to offer them a lot lower than they did want. If we could possibly, kind of do the same thing but upgrade it a little bit, such as instead of 2 years at 4.5, upgrade it to that. Because if we could possibly save some money, so we have something to go off of in free agency, that would be kind of huge. But DeBrincat, he didn't want to re-sign that either. So we might just have to pay DeBrincat and hope he's good for a while. Maybe like a 5 at 5. That'd be $10 million total. We'd have $4 million left. Plus we got both of these guys to sign. Gustafson, you really want a couple-year deal, huh? So what are we doing to? Let's give him 1 year, 1.25. I don't really like the deal, but I guess we're just going to have to deal with it. Yaros, I guess 1 at 1 for him. That's fine. And then the other guys are still restricted. Goaltenders, though. Forsberg did not resign. All right. So I guess let's upgrade it to 1.25. I mean, I don't see why he wouldn't want to resign other than the fact that we're not really in a good spot. But he did well with us, so I would figure he want to, continue that. But again, let's simulate a day, see who resigns. All right, here we are back. Once again, we have 2 guys that have not re-signed. That's DeBrincat and Forsberg. Forsberg he wanted to test the free agent market, and DeBrincat was for not enough money. So hopefully we upgraded DeBrincat's contract a little bit, $500,000 to be exact, and we'll offer Forsberg a little bit more, and hopefully they both re-sign. Because if both these guys go through, we'll have about $4 million left. Ish numbers. So we won't really have much to do in free agency unless we want to try to move Johnson and or Gardner as far as offseason goes. So there is everyone that re-signed, other than everyone that's sent a qualifying offer. But let's get into here. So we do have the trade block to do before we get into here, and it did. So it completely reset from what we wanted. First thing I noticed here is look at Tony Solani. His trade value is all the way up at 79 overall at 17 years old. That's absolutely insane. But yeah, let's get right into it though. Who do we want to throw on the block? We wanted to throw Gardner and Johnson both on the block, because at that price we could get someone that's doing like $3 million to do what they're doing. So if we could possibly, trade away both of them and have a little bit of money to spend on whoever, that would be kind of clutch. But, alright, so we have 4 goalies right there. So let's do the surplus and the wants here. So our trade block is basically, we want NHL defensemen that are decent, and then we want prospect defensemen. Along with, we want picks, and we don't want to give up any picks. So, hopefully, someone will want Gardner and, keep forgetting their names, and Johnson. But this is the first look at the free agents list this year. Who do we got? And there's a lot of really good picks. All right, so we got young guys like Braden Point, and Kajula's obviously up there. I probably should have put Kajula and Cahoon on the trade block. But all right, so what do we need? We need defensive help, and then we need kind of like a top line goalie if possible, or I should say a starting goalie. But he wants under $4 million for being 87 overall. That's interesting. But we do need an AHL starter, which is not really important. And then I believe we can just go look. Why am I talking about it now? We can just go look. Guys, welcome back. After doing all of the numbers as far as how many we have per position, we finally have the results. So we need a couple of NHL forwards, and then we have our defensive issues still. So we have 3 NHL centers. We have 7 AHL, and then we have 1 RFA, which would be Hayden. Then for left wings in the NHL, we have 2, with 4 in the AHL, and then we have 2 RFAs. Then we have 3 NHL right wings and 3 in the AHL. And then we have 4 left-hand defensemen that could be in the NHL next year, 4 right-hand defensemen. And then the AHL, we have 5 left-hand defensemen, and we have 1 right-hand defenseman down there. And then we have 2 NHL goalies set, and we have 2 AHL goalies. So we need basically some third and fourth liners for the NHL, and then we need right-handed defensive help in the AHL, and then we need an AHL starting goaltender. So that is kind of the goal. However, after looking at the free agent market, if you look at defense, the only really person we'd be interested in that would kind of work with our team would be Torrey Krug. And as he's at the top of the list, he is making he wants the most money. And as you can tell by our cap space, we don't really have cap space for him. So we have to get rid of somebody to get them. The other thing I was thinking about is, we talked about this before, if we got rid of Kajula and Cahoon, that would open up a roster space, first of all, and we can move Koivu up, and then we'd have to get a fourth liner of some sort, because it doesn't really look like Kajula Cahoon really want to re-sign. They both want a lot of money, as you can tell. And I really don't want to pay them that much, especially when they did have really good years last year. I mean, Kajula, 64 points, absolutely huge. I mean, I think he was on the top line for a while. And then Cahoon, I think, had like 70. No, it was someone else I'm thinking of. But 52 points. Huge year. Even if we pay like Cahoon like $2.5 million at 2 years, that's like a third line contract. But with Saad and Perlini, they're both already on our team making a ton of money, and obviously Kajula, wants a lot of money. So I feel like let's try to get rid of Cahoon. Let's try to find a trade for him, and then Cahoon will try to re-sign for, like I said, $2.5 million at 2 years, and then we would need to find, I believe, one. Well, depending on what we want to do with Koivu. And then what happens in the preseason with Solani will kind of determine that. So first off, let's try to find a trade for Kajula. Let's try to open up some cap space. And then we'll try to trade away either Johnson and or Gardner in the attempt to find some cap space. Here we are with our first trade, not the first trade, but our first trade of the free agency season. And like I said before, we're trying to upgrade our defense, trying to help it out a little bit. And I figured if we can get rid of Johnson and or Gardner, it would kind of help out everything. And we're over here in Vegas where they want Kajula, which is good. So that can kind of get rid of that problem. But then I would love to have a guy like Colin Miller that could just kind of fill in anywhere we need him to. Plus, he's making a little bit less money and one less year. So even if he doesn't work out, we don't have to wait as long to get rid of him. Plus, the lower salary than Johnson definitely makes him look better to other teams if we want to go that route. Then we have Nicholas Hague, one of their draft picks. That is decent that we could always get. So hopefully this trade will go through. A couple of the other trades we tried to make go through did not. So let's propose this trade, and it is accepted straight up. Thank you for that. That's huge. So finally we get rid of one of the guys we want to get rid of as far as that goes. So although Miller isn't the greatest of players, I think he'll fit a little bit better than Johnson did on our team because we have Boquist, we have Jokiharju, and we have a couple other guys that will fit in our lineup. So, like I said, not the best of pickups, but something that will hopefully help us. And plus, we got another left-handed defenseman that has some potential to him. So, the next trade I'd like to get through would be Gardner, if possible. This one, I don't want to trade for prospects. I would like to trade for someone that's already in the NHL and kind of ready to go. So I'm going to roll through some teams and try to find somebody that makes sense. All right, we're back with our second trade, and this one you kind of saw a glimpse of it as the other clip kind of wrapped up, but we actually stayed right here in Vancouver. And although I did say I'd like to get someone that's in the NHL already, it was kind of too good to be true about Ali Ulevi here. Basically because he's kind of stuck behind a lot of players and he doesn't seem to be growing. But if we get him, he'll guaranteed be playing, and then he'll be, hopefully getting better after that. Plus, it gets rid of our salary cap problem. And these guys have a lot of salary cap to kind of deal with. So we added a third-round pick on Vancouver's side with Ulevi. And this trade looks pretty good to me. But what does it say to them? Rejected. All right, so I kind of figured the third-round pick would be a little bit too much. But like I said, we don't really need to desperately get picks. I was just kind of try to do that. So, all right, fourth-round pick works. Like I said, I'd like to have a third in there, but it didn't end up working. And maybe if we would have thrown a fourth-round pick or something on our side, it possibly could have gone through. So everyone's getting mad because we're trading away quality players or whatever. But like I've been saying, we need to kind of fix our defensive issues more than anything. So it also almost kind of seems like we're in a rebuild, but we're kind of not at the same time. But here's the thing. Now, we did create a lot of cap room for us, and it looks like we're going to have a lot of some pretty good depth as well. But I still want to go after Torrey Krug. I don't know if that sounds terrible or not, but I kind of want to go after Krug. If we were going to go after Krug, I would need to get rid of at least one kind of depth defenseman because they wouldn't really get a chance to play anytime soon. Because we have Keith that's going to be in the NHL, and then we'll have Ulevi in the NHL. Along with Boquist, Jokiharju, and probably Yaros. So, alright. Let's go try to sign Krug. And then we'll try to find some fourth liners to fill up that. And then our kind of third focus is filling up our AHL team with players. So we are back once again. And I should mention that we just made a small trade. Really wasn't that exciting. But we traded away John Hayden. We actually got an offer for him. But John Hayden and a couple, I added on instead of it was like a fourth round pick or something. We added on a couple of unsigned unsigned prospects that were kind of garbage. For Oscar Lindbergh from New Jersey. Basically, Lindbergh, fourth line center, 1 year contract, 2-way deal. fits our fourth line spot perfectly. A little bit faster, a little bit more of an all-around player than Hayden was. But after redoing the numbers once again, we still need a couple of players. Plus, we targeted one kind of player this offseason, and that was defenseman. There we go, Torrey Krug here. So in order to get him, we're probably gonna have to go a little bit lower years, higher money wise, is kind of my goal. So if we can go like a 3-year deal at like, what are we saying, 5.7? What does he really want? He wants 4.9. So if we go 3 years at like 4. You know what? Let's go 2 years, 6 mil. That way, after those 2 years, we can sign him to basically whatever the heck we want. And it gives him 2 years to kind of see what he can do with us, see what kind of everything he can develop with our players. But that kind of solves that issue. Then our other issues were NHL fourth liners, basically. We need one. We already got a center. We just need a left wing and right wing now. So I'd like to keep it under 1.5 mil if I can. My goal for this is to find players that are a little bit fast and have really good, not really good, but have good defensive stats is the goal. So I guess we'll start with Smith Pelly and work our way down. So here we go. Here is the list of players we did go after in the search for fourth liners. But other than that, we attempted to sign Krug. You guys saw that, 6 mil, 2 years. That's still obviously pending until we simulate a day. Cahoon, I tried to sign 2.5 mil, 2 years. So hopefully we can re-sign him. And then I know I said I was going to try to spend under 1.5 each for each player. But Frolik wants 1.9. I offer him 1.8 just in case our franchise right wing doesn't really perform. He could also jump up and play a line there. And then Sabatka, he's listed as a third liner, but the main reason I was attracted to him was look at his defense. He has also really good face-offs with good defensive stats, and he's actually a really good skater as well. So that kind of brought me to him. And then down here, Trevor Lewis, same thing, good defensive stats. He's a good skater, and he has above average face-off skills for the penalty kill. So other than that, we tried to sign a AHL starting goaltender in Cal Peterson at 1 year, $900,000 for him. So let's simulate a couple of days here and see who signs. All right, basically everyone but Sabatka ended up signing. So let's just continue on here. So there we go. Torrey Krug did not want to sign with us, which really sucks because that's kind of the whole goal of why we moved Gardner and Johnson. But on top of that, I guess I'll show you once again the kind of people we went after. So we have Sabatka now. So we went after Frolik again, 2 years, $2 million. Lewis, 1 year, 1.75. And then all three of those guys are all right-hand defensemen. So they'll all be prospects. And then the other guy that didn't sign was Cal Peterson. He didn't want a two-way contract. However, this guy did. Plus, he's not just some young guy that, could play in the AHL. Look at this guy's record from last year. I didn't even notice this. 22-9. So hopefully he continues that and plays well. Cahoon did not sign with us. But let's check and see if there's any other defensemen we could possibly get. So after like a week or something, I guess we're 6 days into free agency. We're left with kind of nothing. Because Krug was going to be a left-hand defenseman. So we have Keith, we have Ulevy, and we still have Gustafson. Do we really want to spend money on a guy like Merrill? I mean, I think he does like the same thing. Yeah, he basically does the same thing as Gustafson can. Other than that, I think, is this guy left-handed? Yeah, this guy. Could possibly get him. But again, he's kind of in that same role as Gustafson. Christian Juice, he wants way more than I'm willing to spend, but he could be a little bit more of an option. Then Spiza, again, way too much for what I want to get. And again, same production as Gustafson. you go down, you don't really find too crazy anything of what we want. So I guess Gustafsson will be our answer as our third line left defense. But simulate a couple more days and see if these free agents and these prospects sign with us. It looks like everyone that we just attempted to sign ended up signing. So that's pretty huge for us. You know, we have our AHL team filled up with players. We have our goaltender situation figured out. Didn't really get exactly what we wanted for defense, but this video has gone on long enough. As I'm simulating up to the preseason, we'll wrap this one up. So, although we didn't get everything that we wanted this offseason, we got our first overall pick in Solani. We kind of changed around some guys up front. We still have one pending RFA in Cahoon, so hopefully he drops his asking price before the season starts, because that would be kind of clutch, depending on what happens with the guys that are trying to make the team this year. And defense, we wanted Krug, we wanted to upgrade our defense. However, it almost seems like we got a little worse. But we got some younger talent in there, so I'm kind of excited for that. We kind of rebuilt our defense in our way. And then, our goaltender situation kind of stayed the same. So, as this one simulates up to the start of the preseason, I'm going to wrap this one up here. If you did enjoy, hit the like button down below. Comment what you guys thought of our off season down below. Like I said, it wasn't the best, but I guess we'll see what happens this upcoming year. We got the preseason still to figure out our final roster. And, I'm kind of excited because we got some new faces in. But like I said, guys, this is it. If you haven't already, hit the subscribe button. And as always, guys, we'll see you next time.